Ulonga tabati yada to ye kuma Do IFA. Inu to ye ko jeun, ulon fi bipa. Oba tala, oba takutakun. Shango Eshu, Ogun Oya Osun. Kini ṣẹ̀ṣe tán ṣe nílé yìí o, ó jẹ́ lọ jára.
Alafia, Aboro, Aboye, Aboshi, Shay, peace and blessings. Welcome to the Ashe African Spirituality Experience live stream featuring the host of the Shay Post, Baba Shango Niyi. Alafia, peace and blessings. Aboro, Aboye, Baba, what's going on with you?
Alafia, Alafia, what's going on with you? How you feeling?
Blessed, man. Blessed. Ready to get it. Got some good energy, ready to get this thing cracking and flowing. We've been getting some really good feedback in the comment section on the channel. People calling and texting, showing love about, this, especially the last show. I feel like all of them in general, we going in the right direction. But the last one, definitely, a lot of people was definitely shouting out and, showing love, man. So I wanted to get with you, man, and run it right back, and continue to follow up with this momentum.
Okay, I'm with it, man. I'm here.
Yes, that's what's up. So, the elephant in the room. I personally wanted to really go in on it yesterday when I saw it because, I just feel how I feel. But I was advised by somebody with a different mentality and mindset to not do that for the sake of not, I guess, getting any issues or citations, from the platform. So, but with that though, the incident yesterday, what was your initial response like when you saw the attempt? I'll just call it. I'll just say the attempt.
Man, it was something to see, man. It's interesting to see, when people go to great lengths to do things, and also it's one of those things where we have to really pay attention to where society is heading, and where it's at currently. A lot of people aren't really aware of these societal issues that are going on. Like, this is bigger than just that incident. This is showing us, the lengths that people are willing to take. And I heard that someone lost their life as well during that incident. So we don't know if it's if it was a thing that was set up, or whether it was just something that actually happened. We don't know. But at the end of the day, even when it comes down to social media, all that stuff, like, there are people who go to great lengths to get attention.
Facts.
Who are attention seekers, and they'll do anything for that clickbait or for someone to pay attention to them.
Right.
So we have to understand that as a whole, man. So that was pretty much my outlook on the whole situation, because like I said, we don't know if it was something that was set up or if it was something that was really real.
Right.
And it cost someone their life. So at the end of the day, and Ibar out to your room to the guy that passed away, because that's very, very, very unfortunate, man. So yeah, that's my outlook on it. We have to be mindful of
Right.
that, and not be so attention seeking and letting the things that happen, especially on social media, and the things that we see in the media take over our minds.
Right. I agree 100%. My sentiments exactly. And I really did. I had a whole little monologue I was gonna go into, based off of what I felt about it. But at the end of the day, a lot of things we see, I feel like definitely are created to create a narrative, within us, and that's something that we'll even get into a little bit later about an incident that took place this past weekend that I shared with you off air. But with that, I think being able to have counsel from others, from outside perspectives, I was able to pretty much get some advice from the boss telling me not to go in like that. So, that feminine energy is always going to kind of give you the balance, like we talk about with the Odu, and divination. So the feminine energy, she told me not to go in like that. So I said, okay, cool, I won't. But what I did do is, you know, during today, with today being Osha IFA Day, I definitely spent time with IFA, you know, studying and some strong prayers. So IFA did give me a couple of different Odus, you know, to share with and to lead with in today's live. So the one that came to me that really spoke volumes, especially with what you said in terms of people being aware of the current climate, especially in this country, right? Like the climate is it's already been kind of murky, but it's definitely about to get murked up a lot more, considering, you know, what we have with it being election year and all that going on. But with that, so the Odu that kind of caught me today, or came to me today, was Osa Otura. And the verse from Osa Otura that came to me is, what is truth? I say, what is truth? Orimila says, truth is the Lord of heaven guiding the earth. Orimila says, truth is the unseen one guiding the earth. The wisdom of Oludumare he is using. Osa Otura says, what is truth? I say, what is truth? Orimila says, truth is the character of Oludumare. Truth is the word that cannot fall. Ifa is truth. Truth is the word that cannot spoil. Might surpass in all. Blessings, everlasting was the one who cast Ifa for the earth. They said they should come and speak the truth. And the song that goes with that, Odu, is speak the truth, tell the facts. Speak the truth, tell the facts. Speak the truth, tell the facts. Those who speak the truth are those whom the gods will help. So when I got that Odu and it came in, I was like, okay, that's Ifa telling me, you know, like, don't even worry about all the, you know, quote unquote maybe propaganda or whatever the case may be, regardless of, you know, the situation. And I do give my you know, my sentiments to the family, you know, of those who may have lost their lives in that situation. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, we still got to keep it pushing and keep it moving and do what we got to do to make sure that we, you know, we're doing what's right for us as a people, as a community, as a culture. So with that, you know, we have some pretty dope topics that we just, you know, came up with that pretty much came from the comment section, man, on the channel. So I know one of them was about IFA practitioners and the different types of rituals or the different type of practices or just the different type of daily activities that practitioners use on a day-to-day basis. So for that, what would you share to kind of answer that question for the person who left in the comments?
I want to take a step back to come forward. So I want to really break down what you said about, what was that, Osa Otura?
Yes, sir.
Right. So when because a lot of people don't know how to separate what we call Odu. So you have Osa on the right and Otura on the left.
Yep.
So when you talk about, you know, Osa, you talk about many blessings. There are many, many blessings in Osa. There are many, many possibilities in Osa. You know, and there's a lot of you can pretty much get what you want in Osa. When Osa falls for someone, they can pretty much get whatever they want, but they have to be truthful in their actions. So when you talk about Otura talks about, because Otura is in my Odu, is one of my Odu for Shango. You know, so for Baba Shango. So when you talk about Otura, you're talking about the word of mouth. You know, and the things that you say, you know, come to pass. So you have to watch the mouth and what you say and how you say things. You know, so and the things that you speak have to be truth. You know, so lying is like is blasphemy for where you're going, and you know, especially if you're looking towards your destiny.
Sure.
So that's just a little breakdown of what you're looking at when you talk about truth. When it comes down to Osa Otura, it's the word of mouth and many possibilities. But to get to those possibilities, you have to be truthful in the process. You know, in order to see everything come to fruition.
Got you. I love it. Like, and I appreciate you actually doing that, because now I don't even want to go forward just yet, because I feel like that's a whole nother kind of like a whole nother paradigm shift in terms of, you know, where we're going to go with the conversation. But with that being said, there's a lot of things that are taking place in this this corporation that we know as America, right? And a lot of it, I believe, is not based off of truth. And so, but we also see, some would say, the continuous unraveling of the system of the corporation of America. You know, the economic crash is inevitable. You got all kinds of things going on in terms of the country or the corporation, whichever you consider it, going on that's not necessarily looking like it's going in the right direction. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you might have heard, maybe not. But when we talk about the dollar, I don't know if you saw where Saudi Arabia is no longer accepting the American dollar. That's huge when we're talking about finances now, because they used to only deal with selling their oil with the U.S. American dollar. They've now signed the new bill and new contract stating they're no longer using the American dollar. They're going to use currency from multiple other countries and eliminate the possibility of the dollar. So,
including
so now when you're talking about truth, right, and everything that you just said, you know, and you said if you're not operating in truth, which I believe you said falls under Otura, then things aren't going to go the way that you want them to go for your destiny, right? So that being said, let's spin the block now and talk about reparations, because we're talking about a moment of truth. This has been talked about for decades and decades, but it's kind of being pushed to the forefront, depending on what kind of platforms you're watching or what type of media you're consuming in terms of whatever types of social media platforms or whatever the case may be, whatever you consume your media at. But reparations is something that's been pushed by our community, and it's been really on the forefront. I think Brother Tariq Nasheed had the reparations rally, I want to say last year, where he had a big turnout. A lot of people from the community came out and spoke upon the necessity for reparations. So if we're talking about truth and we're talking about destiny, where do you feel like reparations come into play in terms of where this country is at now?
So my standpoint with reparations, man, is that people have to understand that, first off, we have to acknowledge this. A lot of us don't come from enslaved family members. Let's start that off there first. Know your lineage. And then we can talk about reparations. Everybody talks slavery this, slavery that, and 400 years of this and it's like, yeah, but we're not talking about how we enslaved them first. If we were the first people here, we're not talking about how we enslaved them first. That's not a conversation that us as people want to have. We only want to be the victim. A lot of us in our community want to be the victim, and we don't know our lineage. So we can't have the conversation of reparations if that's not the lineage that you come from. So at the end of the day, man, we've done so much when it comes down to marching. We've done so much and having protests and all of that, which is cool. I don't knock anyone for doing that.
Right.
But at the same time, man, like we have to realize, man, like we have to realize that we're not the minority. If we're the first here, how can we be the minority? If we made them, how can we be the minority? We're clearly the majority, but they put us under this title and said, you're minority. Your business is a minority-owned business. It comes down to you getting grants. You can only get 30% of that grant, or if you go and get any funding or whatever the case may be, if a business is funding you a Fortune 500 company, and they use big words and that means something for their businesses. We don't use Fortune for our companies. We say, oh man, for my small business. My business is small. My Black-owned business. We put everything into a category that they want us to be in. Rather than being like, you know what, damn, they call themselves the majority. They call themselves Fortune 500. They put everything on a pedestal while we put everything way down here. So at the end of the day, man, like these are the conversations that we need to have, and we're not having them. Everybody keeps playing the victim, talking about how we need reparations. It's like, no, we have to change the mentality of people. And that's not something that, like I said, it's not comfortable for a lot of people to talk about. It's like, yeah, if you come from a lineage that had that problem, yes, we'll support you. Let's gather everybody. Let's see everybody's lineage.
Right.
You've been in Africa, first off, where your people are from. Have you been there? Not staying on a resort, being with the locals, knowing exactly where the root of the problem is. So at the end of the day, man, that's what, you know, a lot of people have to realize when it comes down to what we call reparations, man. Like let's get that going. Let's get a list of, yeah, this family came from slavery. This family came from slavery. But let's talk about that. Rather than, hey, yeah, man, we suffered, man, 400 years and they don't want to give us no money for all of this work that we're putting in for their Fortune 500 companies. Like, let's talk about what really matters, man. And people, a lot of people, man, and this conversation might ruffle some feathers. But at the end of the day, man, that's truth. When we talk about truth, that is truth. So at the end of the day, man, that's something that we have to look at, man, when it comes down to that conversation, man, because like I said, a lot of people don't want to have a conversation. It's very uncomfortable, and everybody wants to be the victim. Your family, your lineage may not have been a victim. You might come from free people.
Sure.
But do you know that? Are you willing to learn? Your family may be, you might come from a royal lineage, but you're living in a victimized way. But because you want to play the victim, you don't know, and you're not living like royalty. Like myself, I know that there may have been slaves on my grandmother's side, but on my grandfather's side may have been royalty.
If I'm not mistaken, they were, wasn't they? I didn't mean to cut you off, but you do come from a background of royalty.
That's my point.
Gotcha.
So at the end of the day, man, it's like we have a choice to make, and we have to become more knowledgeable about our ancestors and about our people. We can't have the conversations of reparations and we don't know our people.
Facts.
Like it's almost a slap in the face to our ancestors. That's a clear slap in the face to your ancestors, because you haven't gotten a chance to know them.
I would dare to say that it is a slap in the face. and I'm gonna say why, because you hit something that struck a chord with me, because I literally just witnessed this Friday. You know, I went, Queen and I went to a comedy show, right? Went to see Cheryl Underwood. And I had on, you know, my African garb, you know, Feli, and, you know, we strolling through, minding our business. And I hear, mind just from one of us, we're not in Africa.
Right.
And so I paused and I looked, but I couldn't see who it was who said it, because I really wanted to have a conversation, pretty much saying exactly what you just literally elaborated on, is the fact of not knowing your ancestors, not knowing your heritage, and not knowing your culture. So when she said that, oh man, first of all, I hope to God that if this was ever to catch her ears, I love you and I'm gonna pray for you. But with that being said, I'm also gonna give you a history lesson, you know, because I feel like the only way a person says that about another person, I don't care what color or race they are, or what their tribe or what their nation is, or what they're wearing, but for another person to say that about someone who is pretty much the same, you know, of the same descent as them, that's a level of hate that you would expect to see from somebody outside of your culture, outside of, you know what I'm saying, being in the same heritage, or I should say the same, pretty much being a melanated person, right? A melanated person of melanated descent. you expect to hear that from somebody that's not melanated, but not somebody who looks just like you, who is melanated, right? So to me, what that's telling me is that you're so conditioned and you're so, I would say, under and miseducated that you hate yourself and you hate anything that really speaks to the heritage and the roots of who and what you are and where you came from.
Yeah.
So for that's a very dangerous person, a person who hates themselves. Because to me, when I see you, I see a God King. When I see another brother, I see a God King. Because at the end of the day, I know where our lineage comes from, right? But for someone who's never probably seen me a day in their life, and they look just like me, it was a female, but she still was the same complexion, still, was melanated. However, for you to say that you hate, or to me, that's self-hate, because you clearly felt some type of way. So that means to me, you also feel some type of way about Africa, because if you really knew your history or knew anything about history, you know that Africa is the birthplace of humanity, and that's where all of humanity began. And it began with someone just like you.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't even know me, because if you did know me or anything about me, you know that I consider you God.
There you go.
But yet you have a problem with something that I have on, because you don't know anything about you. And the thought that crossed my mind is when Malcolm said, "Who taught you to hate yourself?"
Right.
Who taught you that? I mean, we know, but I would love to have that conversation with her. So with that, now that we're already kind of talking about the ancestors, which that was a really powerful, I feel like, topic, from the last show, you want to kind of dive back into the whole sacredness and the whole, I would say, like the whole spiritual element in terms of communing and connecting and communicating with our ancestors.
Yeah, man. Our ancestors are, like I said, previously, they're the ones who look over us. They're the ones that, when something tragic happens, they're the people that we call on first.
Oh, sure.
Before we call on anybody else, the first thing that pops up is an ancestor that we were once close to. So when it comes down to ancestors and our lineage, we have to always pay homage to what that is, because they walk beside us, they look over us, they're always there. You know what I mean? And if you're walking right, and you're walking in your path, you'll always have their support. you know at the end of the day, when it comes down to your ancestral lineage, they'll guide you and show you the way. you know Even when people look at, like, celebrities or whatever the case may be, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. They may say, oh, this person sacrificed this person or whatever.
Mm.
But you have some things are coincidences to get them to where they need to go. You know what I mean? And like I said, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but in order for this celebrity to go to the next phase or whatever the case may be, something tragic may have had to happen in their life for them to propel, for them to have the ultimate support. So, and in Ifa, we don't believe in human sacrifices. No, that's not something that we believe in or condone. But we also have to look at, even I can take you back to my father's brother, my little uncle. He came into, he was in our family, man, for 10 years. But in his passing, my family had to make a choice. We had to make a choice either to propel, our level of Ifa, because of all the great things that he did, especially, what he did in the school system, Ibarra Aaron Tunde, short. He was so great, and he created a lot of things within the school system that his parents, which is my grandfather and my father and them, like, they didn't know that he was doing. You know, he had, man, he had people at the funeral that my folks didn't know.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like they said, it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people at his funeral because of the impact that he made from the time he was born till when he passed at 10 years old.
Wow.
You know, he was so great to the point where they dedicated an Obatala. It's almost like an Obatala. What do you call it? Like an Obatala staff in the High Museum here that's been there since he passed away.
Ashe. Wow.
You get what I'm saying? But his passing took our family to new heights when it came down to Ifa. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, people have to know that, you know, everything isn't about, oh, well, this person over here doing human sacrifices because they're in the industry or whatever. But it's like, oh, this person may have needed the extra support to propel them to the next level. You see what I'm saying? So even when you talk about a person like Kanye and, you know, all the things that are said about him or whatever the case may be, but, you know, people got a chance to really see his genius come out when his mom passed away. He let his genius totally just flourish, you know, into him being a billionaire. You see, so that's what a lot of people don't understand. And he right in front of our face, he was fighting for his freedom. You know, despite he may have had, you know, health issues, whatever. But it's like, man, we have to show a little bit more compassion when it comes down to our Egungun and the people that pass away that need to guide us to the next level. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because people automatically equate that to, oh, that person practices human sacrifices. Like, no, like we don't say that to everyday people.
Right.
We only say that about things that happen in the industry because they say that it's certain demonic things that happen or whatever. But there's demonic things that happen in different religions and cultures. But at the same time, you wouldn't tell that everyday person, like, you know, that you know, like, hey, you know, your grandfather passed because you sacrificed him. That's not something that we would logically do because that person isn't of stature like this celebrity over here.
Right.
And it's just a coincidence that, oh, you know, this person went to another level of their career and obtained more money because this certain, you know, whoever mom or dad or grandfather passed away. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, like that's what people have to look at, man. We have to show a lot more compassion towards each other.
Facts.
And we don't know people's, you know, roles, man. That's why we have Odu. You know, like and we have to respect people's old due. And oh man, this shit it's hit me. So what I mean by that is that our ancestors have a certain Odu, whether they know the Odu or they don't know the Odu. Your offspring, whether it's your son, your daughter, whatever. Everyone has an Odu, which we know in Ifa that there's only 256 types of people in the world.
Right.
If there's 256 types of people in the world, we don't know that person's path. So why are we so quick to judge someone and how they passed? And then this person over here who obtained more wealth, we don't know their road. We don't know these people. So how can we blatantly pass judgment on people and their road? And as being our wolves and, you know, Iyas out here, you know, there are people out here who will talk down upon people whose ancestors have passed away. We don't know their role. Everybody has an Odu in this life. So at the end of the day, man, it's like if that person was sacrificed or if they just passed away naturally, we don't know them. So just respect what happened and keep it moving. Because at the end of the day, the more you disrespect someone else's ancestors, you're also disrespecting yours as well.
That's facts.
Ifa is like a boomerang. Whatever you put out into the universe is going to come right back to you.
That's facts. And you know, you said something too that really I've always come from the school of thought of when I hear and see those types of things, I feel like I feel like that's another form of self-hate. And you know, because the reason why I say that is because for you to talk down on another, to me, that means that you're not speaking up or speaking highly or speaking, you know, enough love into yourself.
There you
Because that's one thing, like when people gossip and, you know, be gossiping and having drama and chaos going around me, I either leave or I get out of the conversation. I just remove myself because my phrase and my term that I always use is I don't have everything on my plate done and complete. You know what I'm saying? Like, so therefore, I'm damn sure not about to take on any other things off anybody else's plate and put it on mine. So what I
go.
mean by that is I'm not going to concern myself about what the next man or woman is doing because I'm too devoted into getting what I have to do to get my ish together to make sure I'm good. You know what I'm saying? For me and mine. So I don't even have time for all that for real. But that's a really bad I feel like that's a really bad trait that, you know, we have as a culture, not just us, but I mean, just as a culture, I feel like that's a lot, you know, and I feel like a lot of it's kind of created too, you know, by the media and by the tabloids and, you know, just negative press because, you know, everybody knows negative information travels a lot faster than positive, unfortunately. However, that's something that I think could be offset if we spent enough time with self, you know, and learning to love thyself, to know thyself, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're taking that time to love self, then you'll be able to see so much love in yourself that you got more to pour into other people. But
Yeah,
you can't give somebody what you don't have. So if you don't love yourself, then most times you ain't gonna be able to love somebody else because you don't even have it for yourself.
that's it.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, no, that's real, bro. And so with the Egungun, right? Because you are an Egungun priest, how significant are rituals such as libation when it comes to creating that communication or creating that line of communication or just creating a way to communicate and commune with our ancestors? Like, where does libations fall into that process?
Libation comes from, you know, waking up the spirit of the ancestors.
Mm, sure.
You know, and you know, a lot of people really don't understand the importance of it, and you know, really how to quote unquote do it.
Mm,
And I tell a lot of people, you know, even who don't practice Ifa, when it comes down to libation, your intentions have to be right.
mm,
There's no it's no need to talk about right and wrong. It's a need to talk about intention.
mm.
What is your intention while you pray to your ancestors? What is your intention when you give something to your ancestors? You know, what is it? You know, what is your intention, you know, when you pour libation and you know you give them the condiments, the palm oil and all that good stuff. You
Mhm.
know, what is your intention behind it? You know, what are the things that you're praying for? You know, are you going to them always, you know, praying for money? You
Mm.
know, are you always going to them to, you know, pray for them to hurt someone because they hurt you?
Wow.
You know, what is it that you're coming for? You know, let it be something other than money or get back. You know, let it be something that's of positivity. You know, pray for your business to grow.
Right.
You know, pray for the people around you to be honest. Pray for, you know, the people who aren't moving right around you to be removed out of your life.
Mm.
You know, pray for more goodness to come your way. You know, pray for, you know, to have, you know, better character, even if you think you have good character.
Mm.
You know, thank them for the things that you have and the things that you think you don't deserve.
Sure.
Because you may get something and you don't think that you deserve it, but you got it.
Mm.
Thank them for all the blessings that they bestow upon you. And you know, nobody is perfect by any means.
That's facts.
Nobody's perfect.
Big
You
facts.
know, but at the end of the day, man, we just really have to check our intention. you know, and I think that's the biggest thing when it comes down to libation and, you know, just being a gungun priest, period.
Right.
It's about, you know, also, you know, just making sure that your intention is right when you go before your ancestors or any Orisha, or, you know, before you go and get divination, just check your intention, because your intention shouldn't be get back, and the person that's divining for you shouldn't help you get back.
Right. Right.
No.
That's real.
Yeah, man. You know, everything should, you know, be in harmony and peace. You know, pray for more peace in your life.
Facts.
Pray for your sanity. There's many people around here that don't have their sanity.
Yeah.
So COVID just passed. There were a lot of people who passed away during COVID. You know, I have family members that passed away.
Yeah,
You know,
I lost one.
you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, we have to look at the brighter side of life. And that was in the Odu of the year, which is, you know, my Odu, which is Otura. It talked about us, you know, being happy this year, being happy that we woke up. You know, even in the times of, you know, rough patches, are you grateful for that rough patch to get you to the next phase?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people look at rough patches and don't know how to get out of them. It's like, well, if you don't know how to get out of it, go and get divination. You know what I mean? And that's what the Babalawo or the Yanifa is supposed to do for you. You know what I mean? They're supposed to guide you on your path to get to where you need to be.
Yeah, listen, you know, I love the conversation, bro, because it's always something. I feel like it's a give and take thing, an ebb and flow, where I feel like we both are learning from each other, and, you know, pouring into each other, you know, whether it's online, you know, or offline, whatever. It's always that way. From the very first conversation we've had till even to now, right? So when you said that, it triggered something in me, because I actually lost a homeboy of mine, man. This dude was a good dude. Love this dude. Matter of fact, you about to know to my boy OG. But it was the craziest thing ever, because spirit, and this is something that I'm glad that you said what you said to trigger this in me, so I can kind of speak to spirit, you know, in terms of from my personal experiences. And I'm sure, you know, you have several, and I'm sure our listeners do as well. But I'm gonna tell you how powerful spirit is, bro. Like, when all this was going on, I'll never forget it. I was walking, me and the Queen was walking, doing some cardio in the neighborhood, and he called. And I looked at the phone. I was like, damn. I said, I'm gonna call him when I get home, because I don't want to, you know, be talking and I'm all out of breath or whatever, and breathing heavy. So I just highlighted him when I get back to the crib. So get back to the crib. I don't know what came up, but stuff came up. It slipped my mind. The following week, I go to drop my sons off at their mom's house, and then I get a call from my mom's telling me that he passed away. And so when she gave me that call, it blew my mind, because I'm like, nah. Now, mind you, this brother, man, this dude, he looked like he was built like a fullback. You know what I'm saying? Like, boy, he was a specimen. You know what I mean? And he was you know, he was in good shape. I think he was still in the reserves, had his own business, had like 2 or 3 businesses. So when you think about a lot of people who pass away, you know, they said that most people had like a precondition, whatever the case may be, or whatever pre-existing condition. And not that, to my knowledge, he didn't have any of those. So, but it just caught me off guard that would have took him out, you know, based upon the way he was. You know, I felt like he was healthy. So it was just the craziest thing, though, because prior to me getting that call from her telling me that he transitioned, I believe that had to be on probably like a Sunday when I got that call from her. A few days after he called me, I had this, I'm talking about, bruh, it was like the craziest urge to play Madden, right? So mind you, I hadn't played Madden for maybe 3 or 4 years prior to me getting this call from moms about him passing. So in hindsight, what I realized after she told me he passed away, it clicked that when he transitioned, he came to me through spirit and was like, yo, let's get on this Madden. Bro, when I tell you, like, I went through leaps and bounds to go get this game. Like, I went home and I started to try to play it, but something wasn't right, I think, with my PlayStation. It wasn't working right. I had already stopped. Mind you, I had to buy the game to get it. I bought the game, went home, tried to play the game. My PlayStation wasn't working right. So I called one of my little cousins. He's a tech geek, tech dude. So he was like, I know he could fix him and all that, but he's like, bro, I got one. You can come and just get my PlayStation. Don't even worry about it. I'll work on yours. You can take mine, and, you know, and I'll get it back whenever. So I get home and I'm playing Madden. So my old lady like, what's up with you with this Madden? I ain't never seen you play Madden before. I said, I know, it's weird. I said, but I couldn't help but just, you know what I'm saying? It was you like, you went all the way to Valrico to get the game after work, something you don't never do. You normally come home and that's it. But I felt like his spirit was like, yo, let's get on this Madden. And so it was the craziest thing ever, bro, because it really made a lot of sense to me when I got the call that he transitioned. But that's exactly what that was. His spirit was like, hey, man, let's get one in for the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gone, but we still need to do what we do. And it didn't make any sense to me till after the fact. And I was like, wow, bro, it was the craziest thing ever. But it was so strong, that urge, bro. To this day, I'm telling you, I had no explanation as to why I really wanted to play this game, something I hadn't played for years. And I stayed away from it because it's addictive for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love playing it. So I had to kind of stop myself from playing because I was just spending too much time playing it. But that was one of the things we would do when we was kicking it. Like, we would play Madden all day on Sundays and be talking, talking shit back and forth, et cetera, et cetera. But his spirit literally was on me to play that game, bro. And I'm telling you, it made no other sense. But then when she told me he passed, like, wow. And that's how powerful spirit is, man. Like, it was the craziest thing ever, when she told me that, because then it was able to kind of click and give me clarity as to why that spirit or why that urge was on me, because his spirit wanted to do that. So I feel like one of the things that a lot of the people, or several of the people who commented and were showing love and giving great feedback, was about people and harnessing their gifts. And you and I even spoke about this in terms of our intuition and being to really express or to really embrace, our intuition and our gifts. So I know for a fact, I'm very confident you got several stories that you can share with me in terms of how your intuition, resonates within you, and how, maybe some ways that you start to develop it and to nurture it and cultivate it to take it to higher levels. Because intuition is something we all have, but I feel like everybody has different levels to a matter of a degree of what, level they have to be able to tap into and express. But you and I have spoken about multiple different ways that your intuition has been, in alignment with what you're doing, even so much so to the phone call last night where we both literally was calling at the same time, you know what I'm saying, after both being tied up all day doing other things to talk about the show. So with that, you kind of share what you, in terms of like with the people about how, to embrace our gifts and our intuition.
I had talked about this, briefly on the Isese post, but to really go, more in depth, when it comes down to our gifts, I had mentioned that, I'm a seer, so I see things before they happen. I can see if somebody's about to fall down some steps within a split of a second, and it's up to me if I want to go help that person. Also, when it comes down to intuition, you have to listen to the whispers. Our ancestors will talk to us. The divinities, they'll talk to us, but we have to pay attention to what that is. And I had mentioned, when it comes down to my grandmother, she always told me, man, listen to the whispers. If you don't, never ignore the whispers. They'll always tell you, and they'll guide you. So for myself, I've been in many situations, man. But even in my old Do, it talks about having psychic abilities. You know what I mean? So that's another, important thing about IFA is that, it'll tell you exactly what and who you are and what your genetic makeup is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the power of Odu. It'll tell you exactly who you are. It'll tell you exactly what your path is. And it'll tell you stories that you may have been on along your journey before you even joined IFA. You may see stories in certain books that may align with exactly what you have been through to get you where you are. Gotcha. So for me, man, when it comes down to intuition, man, it's really heavy, and you definitely have to embrace it. It can be annoying sometimes because you may see or hear things and tell people about it, and they may not listen. You know what I mean? So for myself, I've run into those instances. I'm not going to really speak on them, but I've run into instances where I've told people certain things and they ignored it for a long period of time, and then once it happened really, really bad. You know what I mean? And because I'm a protector of my people.
Facts.
So for me, man, I've definitely been through that phase, and like I said, it can be annoying, but you definitely have to embrace it and listen, because it can save your life, and it can also save someone else's.
That's real.
So it can be a split second of you driving, getting over or you sit in the passenger seat, but you see that something is about to happen, and you tell the person driving, like, hey, go over into this left lane. And you can make a split second decision and be like, okay, am I going to tell this person or am I not?
Right. That's facts, bro.
You see what I'm saying? And we have to embrace, even people who are mediums or whatever the case may be. It's like, man, embrace all of it. Embrace all of it, because all of it is powerful. And we can't differentiate. Okay, well, this is more powerful than the next.
Right.
Nah, man, power is power.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, embrace that power, keep moving.
Yeah. No, it's real. It's really real. I got, several stories that I could share in terms of how real it is, man. And a lot of them come from my grandmother, who I feel like I know is one of my guardians, who's here with me pretty much at all times. But she's come through to two different mediums, and she's come to me in several different ways, bro. When I'm talking about, it was spot on. Like, one of the times, the very first time she came through a medium, I'll never forget it. My dog had passed away. I had to put him down. Shout out to Nino Bishop Brown, crazy dog. But that was my dude, though, man. Like, he was like, that was my ride or die, and at the time I didn't have any children. And so, like, he was like, that was my dude. Like, man, this dude, he lived almost 16 years, I think, before I had to put him down. But like, he put it like this, I ain't gonna lie, I shed more tears for that dog than I did for any person, that I lost. And it's no disrespect to the family members and the loved ones and friends that transitioned, but that was a different relationship, because it was consistently every single day unconditional love. It was the give and take receipt, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it was to the point where, bro, he would sit at my shrine with me. Like, literally, he would sit at my ancestral shrine with me. Like, this dog, like, people like that knew me when I had him, like, they would ask about the dog years after, but you still got Nino, you know what I'm saying? Because he had that kind of energy where he made an impact. He had like human like personality, bro. It was crazy. So I ain't gonna lie, like, I boohoo cried like the whole weekend. I had to put him down, man. And so I'll never forget that Monday I was in the gym working out, and the sister reached out to me on Messenger, somebody who I was friends with, but I never had a word with her before, a day before in my life. And bro, when I tell you, she came to me and delivered a message from spirit that it was undeniably, that it was spot on of what she did. So what happened is, my grandmother came to her and she asked her to deliver the message to me to let me know that he was safe with her. And bro, when I tell you, it was like crystal clear. That Friday, I had a meeting with the school board to take on a contract. It was negotiating for me to take on a program to work in the school board. And so we didn't come to terms on the agreement in that meeting. However, the medium saw that I had that. So my grandmother told her, like, she was holding documents, right? And then with the documents, she told her that for the specific purpose of letting me know how accurate this woman was with her message. So the way she delivered the message, it was like three things. It was the documents that was from the meeting that I had that like 2 days before she reached out. Then she was telling me about not sleeping enough, which at the time I wasn't. And then she also named the color dress that she had on when she passed away, that she was wearing at her funeral. So that way, when she was asking me these different questions about what was her favorite color, and she was asking me multiple questions to kind of get me to respond, but I didn't really respond, like the way she wanted me to, because I'm like, who is this? And like, why is she asking? Like, it blew my mind, because at that time I never had divination. I never had any type of experience like this. So I'm like, yo, who is this lady? But she finally came around and said, Spirit wanted me to deliver a message to you. A woman came to me who made herself, she told me she's your grandmother. She came to me, she showed me some documents. She said something about deals. She's like, she said she don't think you should take that offer. You should ask for more. Then she said she was holding something that looks as if it was like a baby. And she said to tell you that your baby's safe with me. And bro, when that happened, bro, I swear to God, I laughed and cried at the same time. I didn't know you could do that, but I laughed and cried at the same time because I couldn't believe how on point and how crystal clear this sister was with her message. You know what I'm saying? And so it was crazy. And so I didn't even know how to respond. I just told her thank you. And I went ghost because I was blowed, bro. So let me tell you the last part. I waited like I after I got my composure, I texted back, I said, can I follow back up with you in a few days? So a few days later, I followed back up and she told me she was a medium. She said, and she had cut her gift off because she gets bombarded with, the spirit because her gift is so strong. So she said she literally has to put up a block to her gift because if not, she can't live a regular life because they nonstop trying to get her to deliver messages. But she was like, but it was something about your grandmother's spirit that was so light and bright. I felt like I had to deliver that message to you. Bro, when I tell you, that's when I knew without a shadow of a doubt that you can't tell me that we don't continue on after we transform out of this body. Nobody can tell me that because since then I've had too many situations like that to count. You know what I'm saying? But it was powerful, brother.
Man, we all. Oh man, I'm so. Man, I'm so glad you mentioned that because a lot of people don't really pay attention to, especially the grandmothers. The grandmothers are so intricate and their prayers are so strong in our lives.
Mm.
And so this is something that I just learned about you.
Mm.
Me and you have our grandmothers in common.
Mm.
So my grandmother, that was my best friend.
Mine too.
Period, point blank. You see. So she passed away in 2018 due to breast cancer. And she had also been fighting it since I want to say she had been fighting breast cancer since I don't want to put the date wrong, but I want to say like 2002. And we had no clue.
Wow.
So, well, according to my knowledge, I didn't. So she ended up passing in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time she ever, came to me in a dream, and two, this is something that's really powerful as well. Before I get to that, people who don't have dreams, they say that we dream all the time, but we just don't know it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But people who don't really have dreams or dreams that they can remember.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a person like that and you have a dream, you have to really pay attention to that dream, whether it was for you or someone else. It's power in it because you don't get them that often.
Facts.
So I'm like that, so when I get a dream, it's like super duper,
lucid.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is that the first time she came to me in a dream, I was watching a podcast that Deaon Sanders was on. As a kid, I used to play for Deaon. I used to play football for Deaon for 3 years.
That's
and
what's
I
up.
played with oldest son, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I played with with Bucky, and Deaon was talking about Bucky in the podcast and this and that. And I was watching it before I went to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went to sleep, I ended up at the podcast.
Wow.
So I ended up at the podcast, but I was like behind the camera, like I'm just sitting there watching it. So I can't forget the football player. I can't remember the football player's name, but he I had brought him to the side. We were talking, having a good conversation, and for some reason we got on the conversation of the mothers. And he was like, bro, I want you to check out this this program that I have that's geared towards the mothers. And he was like, it's basically like where people can send in stories about, their loved ones and, their mothers or grandmothers who have passed away, this and that. And so when he pulled it up and showed me, the letter that he showed me was from my sister. And my sister had sent in a letter talking about her relationship with my grandmother.
Wow.
And I was sitting there and I'm like, yo, that's my grandmother. This is my sister talking about my grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, I was bawling, crying. Like I just broke down and just started crying. And so right after I started crying, man, I immediately woke up. But when I woke up, I was physically crying.
Wow.
And so, man, I'm sitting up and I'm like, man, my pillow was wet. It's like soaking wet. Like I just got done working out. Like that's how much I was literally crying. So in that, I had woke up, I finally went back to sleep or whatever, got myself together, and I woke back up. And when I woke up, my mom sent me a picture of my grandmother's headstone that she had just put on my grandmother's grave. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I mean, what that had told me was that, my granny is definitely, she was excited that she had her headstone. Her headstone was beautiful. And it also told me to, from my interpretation, it was to make sure that my sister was okay.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So, and recently, my grandmother just came to me in a dream again, 2 days before her birthday, June the 3rd, or July the 3rd. And my dad's birthday is July 1st. I'm sorry, I keep getting June. July 1st, she came to me on my dad's birthday.
Wow.
So her birthday is July 3rd. So it was just, and I was telling my dad about it on his birthday, and it was different, man, because I was like, I always ask, for my grandmother to, come to me and let me know that she's here. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, like I said, for those people who have, who don't really have dreams like that, like when you do have dreams, or you have dreams about other people. I've had a dream about my stepmom. She was really, really irate in the dream, really mad, and I called her when I woke up, and she was like, "Man, I just cussed out your uncle." I was like, right. I was like, so basically my dream is telling you to be calm.
Yeah, you felt that.
You know what I mean? Like, so at the end of the day, man, like, it's one of those things where, we just really got to pay attention to, what our ancestors and what the divinities give us,
right?
As gifts, man. Like, it's priceless, man. These are priceless gifts.
Yeah.
But for some people, even like the lady that you mentioned, for her to, be a medium and whatnot, like it can be overwhelming for people like that because they're constantly in it all the time.
Bombarded. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, man. It really gave I couldn't thank her enough for that, man, because it just made my process, it made the healing process so much easier. Like it put it on warp speed. Like I was able to go from being in a dark, sunken, sad place to like I was right back to normal. Of course, I missed them, but her delivering that message to me, bro, I'm telling you, it was like it was a spark, bro. Like it just gave me a spark. I was up and at him, ready to go then, because I'm like, he's straight. You know what I'm saying? He over there chilling with G, like G lady, she got him. Like he over there chilling with the rest of the ancestors. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
It was dope, bro, because it really, when I tell you, it like expedited the whole mourning and healing. Like it really just, that was it. Like because I got the confirmation. I know she knew that. You know what I'm saying? Because we had that same type of deep relationship. So I look at my grandma like my mom. I feel like I really had two moms, and that's why when we talk about the mothers, like you can't talk to me about the mothers without me, you know what I'm saying? Like willing to go there, because you ain't, I was raised by a pack of lionesses, bro. Like for real. Like from my grandmothers to my moms to all my aunts. Like you don't play with me when it comes to them. Like for real. And so it's a different side of me that, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to the mothers, that it's like it's not even negotiable. Like don't play with me when it comes to them, because I know who and what they are and what they mean to me, what they've done for me and what they do for all of us. You know what I mean? So I'm really adamant when it comes to, loving the mothers, man, because it's just a real thing. But I'm telling you that sister really, she really helped expedite my process, and I couldn't thank her enough for that. But especially knowing her her challenge with, you know, not even dealing with it because of being bombarded so, you know, so often and so consistent. So I really thanked her, like, man, I can't thank you enough for coming to me. And even like for myself, and I won't go into detail because, you know, for the sake of, you know, just respecting people's privacy, but it's happened during divination. You know, I'm divining for people. I've divined for people. And literally, you know, I'll see what the old dude was telling me, and I'll ask him, you know, did someone transition recently, da da da, and every single time they were like, yeah, and you know what I'm saying. And then from that point, I was able to give them kind of like a similar confirmation to let them know, like, hey, you know, they good. Like, this is telling me, like, they good. They want you to be straight. You know what I'm saying? They want you to know not only are they good, but they're there with you. They're there with you, and they want to see you win, and you can call on them because they're there to help you and guide you and assist you. So at this point, you know, now that you have that clarity and that I guess a certain level of closure, take that and you know, and run with it. And I'm hoping that was able to help them to kind of speed up the healing process the way it helped me, because it definitely helped me to be able to speed up the healing process, you know what I'm saying, from being deep down in that dark, sad place to being able to kind of like to shoot back up. And, you know, of course, we're going to mourn as time goes on. Time's the only thing that can heal that, but knowing that you can kind of get messages from spirit or from, you know, from the divine to give you the clarity, the insight, it should, I feel like, give a certain level of closure, you know?
Oh yeah. But, you know, and that's something that people will have to understand about you in particular, is that even, you know, when you divine for people, man, people know that you in particular are a trustworthy individual. You're going to give them the proper messages, and also you don't play about IFA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, like, you know, that's something that, you know, I want the world to know. You know what I mean? Is that, you know, you're a reputable, you know, individual when it comes down to, you know, people's livelihood. You know, as you're giving, you know, dafa for people, you have their life in your hands at that moment. You know what I mean? And it's up to you to, you know, give them the proper messages. You know, so yeah, man. You know, it's definitely you know, even when I first met you, you know, it was something about you that I was like, man, you know, this is a real stand-up individual that's always, you know, never gonna beat around the bush, or, you know, be straight to the point with you, and not cut any corners. You know, there are a lot of people within the culture that want to cut corners to get what they need out of the situation rather than trying to help the person.
Sure.
You know? And that's how, you know, tragedies happen in IFA. It's because, you know, we have people out here who may or may not guide people in the right direction. It's all about me and self, rather than the person that's sitting in front of you, in front of that mat, you know, and that's sitting on that mat with you in front of, you know, the Opwele, you know, to get the messages, you know. So that's really, you know, really, really important.
No, that's facts. And I gotta just for the sake of clarity, because I know I'm still a baby. I haven't gotten there yet, but I used Mery when I divine.
Oh, Mery Lagoon, that too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I'm working with, you know, I'm definitely, you know, I'm on my old phase of getting there. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
Well, but either way, you know, it's still, you know, divination, and it's still you know, the same process, just different tools, you know, for people who might not know the difference between the two. So even that's a good thing to share. So with that, you know, the Mery Lagoon divination process is when we use the cowrie shells, and that's something that primarily the Orisha priests will use in terms of divination, whereas with the Adafa and Opwele and, you know, all the Ikin, those are what the Babalawos and the you know, what and the Anifas use in terms of divination and divining tools. But, you know, same energy, same entities, just different, you know, tools that we're using.
Yeah, because with the De Lagoon, it's Orisha based. So you being an Obatala priest, that's Obatala speaking. Being a Shango priest, that it would be Shango speaking. You know, so with the Opwele, it's Ifa.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So that's the, you know, just two of the differences when it comes down to, you know, divination. So yeah, you know, we won't go, you know, too far into that,
Yeah.
but
Another show, another episode for sure. Absolutely. Okay. Well, let me say we got maybe 2 or 3 more topics if you got time, you know, to jump into. You good? Okay. So another thing, well, you know, let me I'll go back to that one, because one of the things I want to do is talk about like terminology and vocabulary. But I want to have like create like something to share with the people when we go into that, so that way people can actually maybe download a PDF or something to where I can give them the words with the definitions and all that good stuff. But that was something too that some of the audience was asking about, going into like terminology like alafia, Udukwe, different things that we use on a regular, but we're used to using them. We're brand new, newcomers to the tradition, or devotees, practitioners, etc. Like they're still trying to figure out and learn. But I think that deserves its own show as well. But one of the things that I did want to get into, which has been talked about on this channel before, several episodes, but I want to kind of dive into it to get your perspective and opinion on it as well. But the fact that as IFA devotees, practitioners, you and I owls, Baba Orishas, etc., right? And you also a Gungun priest. I personally don't have a problem with anybody else's faith system, anybody else's God, anybody else's religion, none of the above. Okay, I want to make that extra clear. I don't personally have any problems with anybody's faith systems, anybody's gods, anybody's religions, period. For those who haven't seen the whole channel, we've had a Christian on here who was on the episode with Baba Tolu. We've had a Muslim on here who was on the show with Baba Tolu as well. They form the nonprofit organization known as Three Good Hearts. And they are, to me, inspiration for, I hope, the world, because they all three came together knowing that Mr. Adebayo, the blind genius, who makes some really dope Adire clothing, is a devout Christian. They came knowing that Mr. Abdul, who is a pure-hearted beacon of light, I love this brother. He was the one who showed us around and took care of us when we was in Ghana. He is a devout practitioner of Islam. You know what I'm saying? And we know that the Balogun, Shango USA, Baba Ogun Tolu, is a Babalawo, also the Balogun Shango of USA. So he is a Babalawo, he's a Ogun priest, he's a Shango priest, he's a Ogun priest. You know what I'm saying? Like his resume, I can keep going and going and going. But so all that I say to say that all three of them came together, put their faiths to the side, or not even put it aside. They put it on Front Street, but they put it together in harmoniously, to work together for the sake of helping children in schools in Ejibo, for helping children in Ghana, for providing backpacks and clothing for the children, to raising money to help children in impoverished, communities and families. So they're doing God's work collectively, all in unison and in harmony. And so for me personally, I feel like that's what this is about, period. Ashe is created for the African spirituality experience. But if you are of melanated descent, you are someone who fits under or falls under the umbrella of what this experience is that we're talking about. So much so that after, I believe, that episode, I had somebody comment on the channel who, I don't know what their nationality was. They were European. And they said that they appreciate the fact that, they was okay, or they felt like they had some sort of inclusivity to listening to the channel, I guess, or appreciating the content on the channel, because it's like we don't bash people. But it's been multiple times where I had to check people in the comments for coming on here talking about God and going to hell and all this stuff. But I'm like, you ain't no real Christian, because if you was, you wouldn't be talking like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so if you don't know what you're talking about, you can miss the channel with that. So. But anyway, with that being said, bro, what is your perspective in terms of I feel like it's a common thing that people probably think, but about people who practice any African spiritual tradition. But let's just speak about Isese, or whichever ones you want to, but Isese, and then like the misconception that people who practice Isese or Ifa or Orisha traditions don't like other religions.
Man, I got one simple answer. And that's my answer to that is go to Africa.
That's big fact.
we have this misconception, like here in the US, it's all about capitalism.
Yeah, that's real.
How can we capitalize off what they don't know? My pop spoke about this as well. We about people making money and capitalizing off what you don't know. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to harmony, in which we should all live, and which we should evangelize, as E5 practitioners, as our wolves, we're not here to evangelize someone to be a part of E5. We're not here saying, Rumila is coming back and Olodumare is coming back. Like, we're not here to do that. We're not here to be, to push, Shango on people. No, if it resonates with you, it resonates with you. You know what I'm saying? So when you go to Africa, you see Muslims chilling with people in Ifa. You see Ifa people chilling with people in Christianity. You see Buddhists chilling with people who are in Ifa, because everything derives from Ifa. So we don't have to go and evangelize or hate on another culture or religion, because we know that everything derives from our African spirituality. Period, point blank. We know this as a fact, as a scientific fact, as Ifa is the first science, the first sacred science ever. Before there was Google, before there was the internet, period, we had Ifa. So at the end of the day, man, when you go to Africa, you see Muslims going to, Agbombom, Baba Coyote to get divination. You see is going to Baba Coyote to get divination, because they know the power in it. And his compound is right next to a mega Christian church. His compound. And surrounding him is nothing but Muslim temples. So at the end of the day, there is no shade to what they do. But here in America, we have this capitalist mentality where it's all about bashing the next thing in order to get what we need.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man, like it's that divide and conquer mentality.
It is.
You know what I mean? When you have that divide and conquer mentality, man, we can never get nothing done. And I had also, talked about this during when we had another episode about, the Shango priest, they're over here, the Obatala priest over here, so on and so forth. And, nobody is trying to step on the next person's toes.
Right.
But here in the US, man, everybody is trying to be better than the next person. It's just striving to have more knowledge than this person, or have more whatever. Oh, right. Man, my elay bigger than yours, or what? It's like, man, come on, man. I know more Reiki than you. I know how to chant better than you. But it's like, do you have better life principles?
Right. Right.
Do you have the life principles that are going to help the next person get to where they need to be? And that's something that, my grandfather understood. And I had to tell him this the other day, was that, I was like, Grandpa, I was like, man, people don't understand that you understood the psyche of people and how to change their mentality to get them on their path to greatness.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, it's bigger than knowing how to chant Reiki, or bigger than knowing how to throw a pole correctly, or how to do this. He starts in the mind. Everything with the fire or spirituality or religion, everything starts here.
The Ori.
If you don't start with the Ori first and know how to change the psyche of an individual and have the confidence that the individual is going to believe you in order for them to get to the next page of their life. That's what my grandfather mastered. He mastered the Ori, and changing the Ori to get you where you needed to go. But he had swag with it. He looked good, and he knew it. So with that, he put all of it in one, and he was like, man, I'm a bad dude, and I've helped thousands of people in my life.
Sure.
So at the end of the day, man, it's not, it's not about bashing a culture or bashing. It's like, nah, man, like, let's help each other get to our greatness.
Facts.
No matter what culture or religion that you're in, let's help each other get to our greatness.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like when we can do that and have conversations with other religions or cultures and sit down and have a conversation, now then we'll begin to live in harmony.
There it is.
That's what life is about. It's about living in harmony and being whole and coming together as people, as the majority. Like I talked about earlier, we have to come together as the majority instead of being so spread apart and not looking in the mirror and being like, oh, okay, well, when you see somebody that looks like you, like, yo, that's my brother, that's my sister, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to uplift their life.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Yeah.
Because every time you look at somebody like you, you're looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's an Oshun effect.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, man, we have to always know that in order to have harmony and peace out here, man, we have to embrace each other no matter the background.
That's facts.
As long as they ain't sacrificing humans, as long as ain't nobody killing nobody and selling drugs and whatever. Right. Like, come on,
taking
man.
advantage of the elderly or the children, you know what I mean? Like, you know, on some old barbarian lower than low type, you know, shit, and everything else I think would be good, you know. And you know, and you said something too that made me, and this is something that I really want to share with the people just for the sake of humility and how when you talk about ignorance, how that can play a role into, you know, how things unfold. So I'm gonna share a moment that I had literally as soon as I touched down in Africa, bro, like maybe an hour or two after I left the airport in Lagos, right? So one of the very first stops we made going to Oshun State, to Oshogbo, was we stopped in Ibadan, right? We stopped in Ibadan to get some fabric. Baba, I think, told us someone needed some fabric in our van, so we stopped. So you know, we out there chilling. You know, I'm enjoying the scenery in the market and all that. And as I'm walking, me and the brother Adeyinka, we walking, and it was a group of brothers sitting down chilling, whatever. So one of the brothers was like, he's like, my brother. He was like, you're beautiful, my brother. You're beautiful. I looked at him. I'm like, huh? He's like, you're beautiful. I was like, you know, I didn't know how to take it. You know what I'm saying? So being here and, you know, the culture here where I feel like we're being pushed and inundated with the, you know, the alphabets and the different, you know, the same, you know, all angle, you know, same sex agenda and all that, right? So I'm thinking like, you know, it was something like off the wall because you know, I'm not used to hearing another brother call me beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So it made me a little uncomfortable. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about, bro? But in hindsight, as I was there longer and speaking to more people, more brothers were saying it. And so I'm like, oh, so damn, that's a compliment. That's a phrase of endearment. You know what I'm saying? And so then I felt horrible because I'm like, damn, man, I sat there and kind of, you know what I'm saying, like gave this dude like some awkward energy, and all he was doing was showing love. You know what I'm saying? So it really taught me a quick lesson about different cultures, you know, and terminology in terms of how we communicate. So that right there was a moment that I'm going to own myself of ignorance, because I was ignorant to the fact that, yes, we should be calling each other beautiful. However, where I came from and where I grew up and was raised at, we don't do that here. So now when I go home from where my heritage is from, I don't even know how to respond in my own damn culture.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm going to be real about that, bro, because I feel like that's what's happening now when people are acting that way towards us, or, you know, us acting that way towards other people. We just being ignorant to the fact of how to communicate with each other. You know what I mean? It's like, that really taught me a quick lesson, man. And then, like I said, I owned it because I take pride in being real. You know what I'm saying? And I know that that's a form of humility that I'm always going to I'm always going to display, because nobody's perfect. But as soon as I recognize that that was an error on my part, I was like, wow, I wish I could, you know what I'm saying, see this brother again, apologize to him because I didn't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like that's something that I feel like we all can like do better with in terms of how we deal with each other. Pretty much based off of what you said, with all of us working together to bring the all within the all.
Yes. Yeah, man. And you know, something else too, you know, just to add a little bit on to it. The reason why we don't discriminate is because, you know, you have people who are in IFA who may need to be Christian as well.
Yeah.
Who may need to practice Islam as well. You know, or who may need to be Buddhist. We can't judge.
Right.
when you're the source, you can't judge because you don't know. Like I said, there's only 256 types of people in the world.
Shango speaking over here, bro. I don't know if you heard that.
Well, now
he's speaking, bro. I'm talking about. I saw the flash, and I don't know if you heard it. Boo, boo, boo. Listen.
So wow. there's only 256 types of people in the world. So with that, we can never judge someone because you might have people who need to be in Ifa and something else as well because it gives their life balance. Ifa is about balance.
Sure.
We're not about the rah-rah and judging and evangelizing. No, that's not balance. We don't, if we were to evangelize, that shows a chemical imbalance in our Ori. Because at that point in time, we're forcing people to do something and we're going against their Ori. When you have to force and constantly tell someone to do something, you're going against their thought process.
Yeah.
Because if they're not thinking about it, it's not as important as it is to you as you can't, you know what I mean? Like it's not important to them.
Yeah, can't force somebody to do nothing.
But it's not important to them.
Facts.
So at the end of the day, man, that's why we can't, pass judgment on that, man. But like I said, it's all about life's balance. When you think about Ifa, the first thing you should think about is balance. Balance, awareness, thoughtfulness, patience, peace, happiness. That's what Ifa is about.
I sure. I think that's a mic drop right there, brother. I think that I think with the way that ended, and then with that notice from the heavens, bro, I think that might be a mic drop. I mean, listen, I see some more people coming on, but yeah, real quick too though, before we do shut it down, man. I definitely appreciate the dialogue and the conversation. It was dope. I can't wait till we work on getting our schedules in alignment to where we can do this consistently, for the people and like really open it up and have Q&As and things of that nature. But in due time, we'll definitely make that happen for sure. But I definitely want to take the time out to give a shout out to everybody who's, on the channel, man, who's been supporting, the people who have been liking, sharing, commenting, the feedback, like all that. We definitely appreciate it. It's nothing but love, and we look forward to continuing. And I want to give a huge thanks, a huge shout out, a huge mudupwe for, I believe we crossed the 200 subscriber mark recently, and it's steadily climbing, slowly but surely, man. So I give thanks to everybody for showing love, and for those, I'm gonna call them hoverbots. I got love for the hoverbots out there, and what I mean by that is like it's a lot of people watching too that's not subscribed, So I appreciate y'all for supporting us. I'm not coming off ungrateful, but now that being on the other side of creating content with YouTube, if you could please just hit the like and subscribe button. It's only 2 taps. We can hit those 2 taps. You know what I'm saying, to subscribe, so that way we can grow the channel and be able to get to the next level in terms of our reach, our expansion, our growth, and the ability to spread the Isese further. I definitely would appreciate that. We definitely give thanks, to everything that everybody's been doing for the channel, man. So I wanted to really make sure that I put that out there just to let everybody know that we really appreciate their appreciation.
Ashe. Yes, indeed, man. Yes, indeed. We are here, man. We here.
Yes, sir.
I'm definitely, grateful, man. By the grace of, Mery, Kabiyesi Shango, Modupwe, to all the divinities that support this process, and which we're headed down. And I'm grateful for seeing the growth of the African spirituality experience, and also the Isese post as well.
Okay.
We're about to go to new heights in this thing, man. And really bring enlightenment to people that really want it. Because we're 2 individuals who genuinely care about people's well-being. People's well-being, and just tidbits of really what Ifa is about, and how we should live this life in Omoluabi, as they say.
Love it. And Iwapwele, I love it. And also too, to the mothers, the feminine energy, I'm definitely working on, bringing on some feminine energy and the mothers and the sisters, the queens, in due time. I can't wait to get more feminine energy on here so we can kind of create that balance as well. The Shay post is getting phenomenal feedback, and you know what I'm saying, comments and shares and perspectives. Like one brother, I wish I had it pulled up, but he left a dope testimonial, bro. Like it really was like, I mean, I just appreciated him even taking the time, you know, to comment on that particular episode with Pops. As a matter of fact, I believe it was, but it was dope, man, because he really appreciated the dialogue and very educated brother. I can't remember what school he went to, but I know he went to a HBCU. But he left a really dope comment that it said something to my.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, that was dope, man. So I definitely shout out to that brother, man, for leaving that comment. And so we're definitely working on continuing to grow, you know, and to continuing to add value to the Isese community, but just to the whole entire, you know, African spirituality experience, period. You know, so and real quick before we roll out, you want to shout out, you know, your businesses real quick, man, and let people know in terms of like what you have going on with your, you know, the multiple serial entrepreneur. So you kind of let the people know, you know, how we can support.
Definitely. Man, I would definitely, you know, like to shout out New Rock Global. That's my company. You know, we do sync licensing for independent artists, you know, around the country. We got a video game coming out as well called Street Beast to help, you know, artists expand, you know, their audience. Also G Cigars as well. I've had a cigar company, you know, since 2016. So I definitely like to shout out G Cigars. You know, also, you know, the new businesses that I have on the rise, you know, that I can't really speak on right now, but definitely, you know, shout out to those businesses as well, you know, as soon as they come into, you know, fruition when the time is right.
Ashe, that's what's up. Yeah, I definitely wanted to share as well. The Prolific Consulting Firm, Prolific Firm Academy is about to launch soon as well. It's entrepreneurship-based community where we're going to be teaching, you know, consulting. We're going to be teaching marketing. We're also going to be teaching people how to start businesses. I currently work with some colleges and schools here in the Bay Area in Florida. Matter of fact, I got a workshop coming up tomorrow, you know, talking about marketing with, I believe it's with HCC tomorrow, Hillsborough Community College. So I'll be sharing more, you know, on that particular academy as well, and you know, moving forward. So for those, if there's anybody in the Shay community or watches the channel that's interested in starting, you know, or scaling a business, we definitely can link up and collaborate when it comes to that. And yeah, man, I definitely look forward to all the things we got in the works. Mr. Shango you know, Kabi say, like, it's a lot going on, man. I'm looking forward to the future, brother. It's definitely been a phenomenal ride, man. So I can't wait to you know, keep it going full speed ahead, man, for real.
Ashe, we will, for sure.
Yes, sir. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we definitely appreciate the love and support. And Tuesday, we'll be back with another Isese post, and we're also working on putting together, you know, a consistent timeline for when we can do these lives, you know, with the Q&A as well, you know, to really chop it up with the people on the channel, man, just to kind of pour into those who are, you know, pouring in with us. So we give thanks. We give thanks to the ancestors, thanks to the Orishas, thanks to the Balogun Shango USA, Baba Ogun Tolu. Shout out to my Yeye Iyalode Oshun Bumi. Now the first woman king of USA, Oba. We're gonna be sharing her coronation and some footage from the king of Oyotunji as well. Coming up hopefully this week. Once we get the footage edited up, we'll be sharing that as well on the channel. So I give a huge thanks to everybody who's played a role, you know, in our facilitating our path and our growth to being here today, to be able to share, you know, everything Ashe. Ashe. Please like, share, and subscribe to the African Spirituality Experience. We appreciate y'all. We are out. Peace. Mudukwe.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé ṣàpò ìyàpọ̀ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe nígbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors, embrace your